Hi, boys and girls. It's time for Chapter 9, called The Shooting Match. Omri put the cowboy and horse into the sock drawer while he had the quickest supper on record. Then he raced upstairs again, stopping only to pinch a few grains of Gillen's rat feed for the 2 horses. Shut up in his bedroom, he took stock. A room this size, well, it was like a sort of indoor national park to the cowboy and the Indian. It should be easy enough to keep them apart for one night. Omri thought first of putting the new pair straight back into the cupboard, and then bringing them back to life next morning in time for school. But he had promised Patrick that he would not do so. So he decided to empty the dressing-up crate and put the cowboy and his horse in there for the night. The crate was about 2 feet square, made of planks. There was certainly no visible way out of it for the cowboy. Omri put him carefully down into it. Looking down at him, he felt curious about his name, where he came from, and so on, but he decided it was better not to talk to him. The cowboy had clearly decided that Omri was not really there at all. With his big hands, he reached down, carrying some cold stew and grain for the horse and some fragments of apple for them both, and put them into the container. Later, he put in some cotton wool and scraps of material for bedding, and the cowboy deliberately covered his eyes by pulling down his big hat brim. It was only when Omri reached in one final time to give him a drink of water in a minute green glass bottle that he had found in the bathroom cupboard that the cowboy spoke a word. "Take that filthy stuff out of here!" he suddenly shouted in a strong Texas accent. "I ain't aiming to drink no more, that as long as I live." And he heaved the bottle, which was almost as big as himself, up by its base and tipped its contents onto the boards at the bottom of the crate. "It's only water," said Omri. "You shut your mouth," said the little man. "I won't be taking no lip from no gall-darn hallucination, no sir. Maybe I drink too much, maybe I can't hold my liquor, maybe some of them real tough guys do, but if I'm getting delirium tremens and starting to see things, well, I don't know, I seen pink elephants and dancing rats and all them purty things other fellas see when they gets too far gone, and I ain't far enough gone to see giants and blue deserts and get put in boxes the size of the Grand Canyon. Oh, keep my little horse for company, though." He sat down on the pile of hay and took the horse's nose and put him in his arms, and he began to cry. Omri was shattered. A cowboy crying? He didn't know what to do. When his mother cried, sometimes, when things got to be too much in life, she only asked to be left alone, and after a little while she felt better. Maybe all grown-ups were like that. So he turned away to leave him alone and got slowly into his pajamas. And then he went to see how Little Bear was getting along on the far side of the crate. He'd finished the painting. The teepee looked really good. Little Bear was now in the longhouse, arranging his blanket for the night. The pony was tethered to the post on a long rope, and Omri took out the rat food and gave it to him. Then he called Little Bear out. "You okay, Little Bear? Do you need anything?" He should have known better than to ask Little Bear if he needed anything. "Plenty. Want fire, longhouse, keep warm, keep animals away. I want tomahawk. Oh, so you can chop bits out of my leg." "Oh, Little Bear angry when he do that. Little Bear very angry when he say that. I sorry now. Use tomahawk, cut down tree, chop firewood, kill fish." "What fish are you going to kill?" Little Bear replied with a very good imitation of a fish swimming. Then he did a mime of catching it, putting it into a block, and with the roll of his arm he chopped off its head with a gleeful relish. "I don't know about that," said Omri. "I'm not sure if I can get you any fish." "You get, tomorrow, fish with plastique, good tools. But fire now. I want fire now. Chief Little Bear say." Omri sighed. He went to the waste paper basket and picked up the remnants of the fire he'd thrown away. There was quite a little bit of fire lighter left. He gathered up some of the bits of willow bark and twigs from where Little Bear had been working. "You're not having it inside, though. That's too dangerous." He arranged the fire on the packed earth of the seed tray, about 6 inches from the entrance of the longhouse, and moved the teepee over for safety. Then he struck a match and lit a cozy blaze for his Indian. Little Bear crouched beside it, his red skin glowing and his eyes bright with pleasure. "Little Bear, can you dance?" said Omri. "Yes, many kinds." "Would you do one now so I can see it?" He shook his head. "Why not?" "No reason to dance," said Omri. No reason to dance," said Little Bear. "Maybe if I got you a wife," said Omri. The Indian looked up eagerly. Give me word?" "Well, I'll try." "Then Little Bear dance. Little Bear do love dance." Omri turned off his light and drew back from the scene. It was amazingly real. The fire making the shadows, the little horse off to the side munching on grain, the Indian sitting on his heels warming himself by the fire, wearing his colorful headdress and his chief's cloak. Omri wished he himself were small enough to join Little Bear by the fire. "Omri, you in bed?" yelled somebody from downstairs. "I'm coming up in 5 minutes to kiss you goodnight." Omri felt panicky, but it was all right. The fire was going out, and already Little Bear was standing up, yawning and stretching for bed. "Hey, Omri," he yelled. "Paintings good?" "They're great," said Omri. "You sleep now?" "Yes." "Peace of great spirit be with you." "Thanks, same to you," said Omri. Omri peered quickly into the crate. The poor cowboy had crawled away into the corner to a makeshift bed and was snoring loudly. He hadn't eaten a thing. Omri sighed. He hoped Patrick was making plans and arrangements. After all, if Omri could keep his Indian secret, Patrick might be able to do the same. All might be well anyways, but Omri certainly wasn't going to try the experiment again. There was just too much to worry about. He climbed into bed, feeling unusually tired. His mother came in and kissed him, and the door was shut, and he felt himself drifting off to sleep, when suddenly a piercing whinnying sound was answered by another one. The horses had smelled each other. That must be what happened. They were not so far apart, and the cowboy wasn't tied up. Omri could hear the little hoofs clattering on the bare boards of the crate, and then the whinnying sound began, high, shrill, almost questioning. Omri thought of putting on his light, but he was awfully tired. Besides, what could he do to solve this? They couldn't possibly reach each other through the planks of the crate wall. Let them whinny their heads off all night? Oh, they'd soon get fed up with doing that. So Omri rolled over and fell asleep. He was awakened just after dawn by shots. He was out of bed in about a fifth of a second. One glance into the crate showed him all too clearly that the cowboy and the horse had escaped the crate. The second glance showed how. There was a knot in the wood that had been pushed out, or perhaps kicked out by the horse, and it left an oval shape. I'm going to try to show you this. Leaving an oval shape like an arched doorway, just enough to let horse and rider through. Omri looked around wildly. At first he could see nothing. He dropped to his knees beside the seed box and peered into the longhouse. Little Bear was not there, and neither was his horse. Suddenly, some tiny thing whizzed past Omri's ear and struck the crate beside him with a pinging sound. Twisting his head, Omri saw it, a feathered arrow the size of a pin still quivering from its flight. Little Bear was shooting at the cowboy. "Little Bear, where are you?" No answer, but suddenly a movement like that of a mouse caught the corner of his eye. There was the cowboy, dragging his horse behind him. He was running half bent over from behind one chair leg to another. He had his revolver in his hand and his hat on his head. Another arrow flew, missing the crate this time and burying itself into the carpet. Just ahead of the running cowboy, who stopped dead, jumped backward till the horse hit him, and then fired another 2 shots from behind the horse's shoulder. Omri followed his aim and spotted Little Bear at once. He and his horse were behind a small heap of clothing, which was like a snow-covered hill to them, but it was actually Omri's vest, dropped carelessly on the floor the night before. Little Bear, safe in the shelter of this cotton mountain, was just preparing to shoot another arrow at the cowboy, one that could hardly fail to miss the mark. The poor fellow was now scrambling desperately onto his horse to try to ride away, and he was in full sight of the Indian as he drew back his bowstring. "Little Bear, stop!" Omri yelled. Omri's fancy voice rang out, but Little Bear did not stop. But his surprise had spoiled his aim, and the arrow sped over the cowboy, doing no worse than sweeping away his big hat and pinning it to the baseboard behind the chair. The infuriated cowboy, forgetting his fear, stood up on his stirrups and shouted, "Tarnation! Take ya, you red varmint! Wait, I'll catch ya! I'll have you here, you stinking red hide, for a sleeping bag!" And with that, he rode straight toward the Vest Hill at full gallop, shouting out strange cowboy war cries and waving his gun. By Omri's count, he should have about 2 bullets left in it. Little Bear did not expect the attack, and he was only outfaced for a moment. Then he coolly drew back another arrow from his quiver and fitted it to the bow. "Little Bear, if you shoot, I'll pick you up and squeeze you," Omri cried. Little Bear kept his arrow pointing toward the oncoming horseman. "What are you going to do if he shoots?" he asked. "He won't shoot. Look at him." Sure enough, the carpet was too soft for much horse galloping, and even as Omri spoke, the cowboy's horse stumbled and fell, pitching the rider over its head. Little Bear lowered his bow and laughed, and to Omri's horror, he laid down the bow among the folds of the vest. He reached for his knife and began to advance on the cowboy. "Little Bear, you are not to touch him. Do you hear me?" Little Bear stopped. He tried to shoot Little Bear. White enemy. Tried to take Indian's land. Why not kill? He better dead. I act quick. He not feel. You watch me. And he began to move forward again. When he was nearly up to the cowboy, Omri swooped in on him. He didn't squeeze him, of course, though, but he did lift him up high and fast enough to give him a fright. Listen to me now. That cowboy isn't after your land. He's got nothing to do with you. He's Patrick's cowboy, like you're my Indian. I'm taking him to school with me today, so don't be bothered by him anymore. When you take your horse and you get back to your longhouse and leave him to me. Little Bear was sitting cross-legged in the palm of his hand, and he gave him a sly look. You take him to school? Place you learn about ancestors? Yes, that's what I said. Why you never take me? Take Little Bear. Omri was startled into silence. If white fool with coward's face is good enough for school, Indian chief good enough for school. Oh, you wouldn't like it, Omri said. If he like it, I like it. I'm not taking you. It's too risky. Risky firewater? No, not whiskey. Risky. Oh, like danger. You're too quiet anyways. No hunting. He my only enemy, he said scornfully, peering over the edge of Omri's hand at the cowboy, who, despite the softness of his landing place, was only just scrambling to his feet. Look, he no use for fight. Little Bear soon kill. Take scalp. Finish him. Very good scalp. Fine color. It'll look good on my belt. Omri looked at the cowboy. He was leaning his ginger head against the saddle. It looked as if he might be crying again. Omri felt very sorry for him. You're not going to hurt him, he said to the Indian, because I won't let you. If he's such a coward, it wouldn't do you honor and good anyways. Little Bear's face fell. No tell from scalp on belt, if scalp belonged to coward or brave man. Let me kill, and I do dance around campfire. No, Omri said. All right, you kill him, then I won't bring you a wife home. The Indian looked at him. You wouldn't. Omri shook his head. He would. No touch. Give word. Now you give word to me. Take Little Bear to school. Take to Plastique. Let Little Bear choose his woman. Omri considered. He could keep Little Bear in his pocket all day. No need to take any chances. If he were tempted to show the other children, well, he just must resist the temptation. After school, he could take the Indian to Yaps, and Little Bear could look through the boxes and find his perfect wife. Oh, okay, I'll take you. You must do as I tell you. Now, don't make any noise, though. He put him down on the seed tray and gently shooed the horse up the ramp. Little Bear tied it to the post, and Omri gave it some more rat food. Then he crawled on his hands and knees over to where the cowboy was now sitting dolefully, and on the carpet, over to the horse's reins that were looped around his arm, looking too miserable to move. What's the matter? Omri asked him. Lost my hat, the cowboy said. Is that all? Omri said. Here it is. And he pulled the pin-like arrow out of the wide brim of the hat and kindly handed the hat to the cowboy. The cowboy looked at the hat, looked up at Omri. Oh, you sure ain't no regular Nation. I'm obliged to ya. And suddenly he started to laugh. Chase, imagine, I'm thanking you. And I'm delirious. And I'm thanking you for getting my hat back. Now, I just can't figure out what's going on around here. Say, you real? And what's up with that Indian? Is he real? 'Cause in case you ain't noticed, you a dang sight bigger than he is, and you both can't be real. Well, I don't think you need to worry about it. What's your name? The cowboy, seeming embarrassed, hung his head. My name's Boone, but fellows call me Boo-Hoo. That's on account 'cause I cry so easy, and I got a soft heart. Show me something sad or something scare me just a little, and the tears, they just come to my eyes, and I can't help it. Omri, who had been somewhat of a crybaby himself until very recently, was not inclined to be scornful about this. He said, That's okay. Only you needn't be scared of me. And as for the Indian, he's my friend, and he won't hurt you. He's promised. Now, I'd like you and your horse to go back into that big crate. I'll stick the knot back in the wood. You'll feel safer. And then I'll get you some breakfast. What would you like? Aw, shucks. You ain't that hungry. A couple bits of steak and 3 or 4 eggs, sitting on a heap of beans, washed down with a jug full of coffee. That'll suit me just dandy. Well, we'll see. We'll see what I can find, said Omri. That's the end of chapter 9. Bye, boys and girls.